Hey everyone, welcome to the Road to Influencer podcast. We're joined here today by Julian again and our special guest, Laura Boyle, who is a customer experience and insights expert. Let's begin our
job
chat.
title.
So the first thing I want to talk about is kind of what does customer experience and insights actually mean? So what do you do on like a day-to-day basis? What sort of stuff are you working in?
Well, the insights part is looking at data to advise best decisions and best practice on how to build a website, what's the best options, how to report on it afterwards, how to get put forward UX reviews and things like that. Also, it starts at the beginning. Before a project even gets off the ground, I'll have a look at the data that's been collected and try and come up with solutions to fix sort of bottlenecks on previous websites and things. And then, so I go from the beginning to the scoping stage. I'll take part in that, then I'll liaise with the developers, and then I will talk with the clients about what they're wanting out of their website and what they're wanting out of their data. And after the build, I will then again liaise with the clients to this is where we look at the customer experience on site and come back with insights, and they kind of take it from there. So it's a broad range of things that I touch on.
Okay.
Complicated stuff.
So when you say like data and insights, what sort of data and insights do you mean? So is there specific examples that you can give of what data you're looking for specifically?
Yeah, so if just say someone has put a new piece of functionality on the website, and it's the end goal is to either get acquisitions or even just to put purchases through. They've put a new bit of functionality on the website, so how does that work? Does it work okay? Is there a problem on it for people to actually convert in the end? Do they consume other content? Do they engage with it? Do they share it on social media? Do they talk about it? So I would, before this would start, I would first have a look at that, put tracking on it, find out what it is the client is looking for, put tracking on it, and then after maybe about 1 to 2 weeks after, I would then look at the data, and if it isn't matching expectations or what they think they were getting out the back of it, I would go back and say, right, we need to optimise this page, we need to fix it, and tell them possibly that you would increase the conversions. So it's about just pulling out all that raw data, interpreting it, and then putting it in a format that's easy for the client to understand and anybody else that's involved in the project. And out of the back of that, they can make decisions rather than guessing, is this working or is this not? You know definitively it is or not.
Yeah, so you can tell from the data. So for somebody like watching this and they were actually thinking, oh, that's a really good idea, I want to do that. What sort of tools do you use to actually analyze the data? So if I create a website, what tools would I be looking to actually use? Can you tell us some tools that you're using to do that? Are you downloading software to do that or plugins or?
I would definitely promote all the free tools that are available at first for just starting out. It maybe puts people off because they think they don't have the budget to get these tools. But there's plenty of free resources out there. So the first thing I would implement is Google Tag Manager alongside Google Analytics. Google Tag Manager so that you can set the tracking up in a limited developer resource. You don't need to speak to the developer. You can go in and do it yourself. It's quite technical, so I would advise that you do need to have a little bit of knowledge around HTML and CSS. Before you go in and use it, but before that, Google Analytics, it's a free tool out the box. You have to kind of configure it to your business requirements though, and that takes a little bit of getting to know the product, having a read through some blogs and such like to try and get up to speed. But the more you go in and you practice in it, and don't be scared to try it, you're not going to break anything. Go in, have a mess around, get familiar in it. The other tools I would use would be, we now have the other free optimization tool called Google Optimize, and that integrates with Google Analytics and also works well with Google Tag Manager. And Google Optimize basically allows you to optimize campaign pages So a bit of A/B testing or multivariate testing, which is basically just say you're directing people to a website to sign up or subscribe for video or whatever.
Okay.
They're not doing that. Maybe you need to tweak the wording on the button, or maybe you need to tweak the information before it. So to do that, you would do an A/B test using Google Optimize. Okay. You would set up the page, you would change the colour of the button or change the text, then you would send 50% of the traffic, and it sounds quite technical to do, but once you get it set up, it's not that bad.
It's pretty easy.
Yeah, and so you would direct 50% of traffic to your test page, and then keep the other 50% going to the original page. After a few days, you would have a look at, is there an impact on this, is there not?
Yeah, right, okay, I see.
Yeah, and if there is an impact, you would say that's a positive change, so we would do that, and then you would learn for your other campaign pages and so on. And it's really a thing that should always be on, so it's like always on optimization. You should continually try and improve your customer journey, be it from whatever channel. Every channel you can't expect, so when I say channel, I mean if they come by social media, if they come by organic search or display traffic, you can't expect every single one of these channels to have the same outcome. You need to understand what the best outcome is. So perhaps social media isn't the best for getting conversions, but it's definitely the best for brand awareness.
Yeah, like reach and stuff like that.
For reach, and organic, so that might be your best converting channel. So it's about understanding these journeys and then trying to create the best journey for these, or the best kind of funnel for these channels.
So if I had a Facebook group, a YouTube account, an Instagram account, and my own blog, and I was trying to get more people to sign up for my newsletter, then I might do some A/B testing on my newsletter sign up button.
Yeah.
I might understand better what's getting people onto my blog through Google Analytics from my different social platforms.
Yes, exactly. And there might be one social platform that's performing better than the rest.
Right.
So to split that out, you can use, and this is also free, you can put campaign tracking on any links from social media coming to the website. So then that would split out, so you would have Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, so on, and then you could see exactly, well, Twitter followers are definitely signing up. What's the messaging behind that first touch? Is that different to the messaging that perhaps is coming from Facebook? Maybe it's a different audience altogether. Maybe it's a younger audience on Facebook as it is to Twitter. Maybe it's more professional people, like for LinkedIn it's definitely more professional. So you would see that they would have a different outlook, maybe come to the website or to your subscribe page but not necessarily sign up. So you need to maybe look at the wording on the page and try and make sure that it captures everybody. But the point being is you need to get to know your audience first.
Yeah, totally. It's understanding what they want, why they're there.
Yeah.
So you could have different landing pages for different socials then, couldn't you? You
Yeah.
could have, like, if there's a younger audience on like YouTube for instance, you'd have like a different tailored landing page for LinkedIn. If you say LinkedIn's like more professional people,
I guess it depends what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So I think I'm thinking of the majority of social influencers that have pages, merchandise, like Logan Paul, all that sort of thing. Blogs. What else?
Oh, I'm not sure.
ebooks, people sell like ebooks and stuff like that as well.
Ebooks. I think the main thing is if you can, with social media, yes, you can reach out to people and through video, but email is extremely popular.
Yeah.
As a way of reaching out to people. It's not my favourite anymore. It used to be much more attractive. Now
Why is that?
I'm just sick of getting emails. So if I'm sick of getting emails, I think everyone else is.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily true. But oh, hello, Sheepy Life Coach joining us on the couch today. So yeah, but anyway, I'm just thinking practicalities, how this all ties together, and how it's applicable.
Yeah,
to
blogs.
You.
Blogs are slightly different, I guess, because most blogs don't necessarily have a call to action on them.
But they might be, like an affiliate blog.
Yeah.
They might be just trying to sell through every post they make. Or
Yeah.
And nowadays, you just listen to a podcast or even a YouTube video, and they're trying to sell you something.
Yeah, like every
halfway
podcast
through,
has
it's
like an advert.
let's just stop here. Here's my sponsor.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
fast forward.
I guess the point is that it's different. It depends on your audience, and it depends on what you're wanting out of your audience.
Mm-hmm.
If you want people to share, like blog would probably be really great for getting people to share the content and shout about the content and so on. So you would probably treat that a lot differently.
Right.
Whereas if you actually had something on Facebook that's a deliberate come here and download or sign up or have a look at our ebooks or whatever, that's a clear kind of call to action. So it's different to, but most blogs will have like little icons to share this content, or even for people to comment at the bottom and you come back to.
Yeah.
So to monitor who shares this content, or even if you get new follows through it or anything like that, just you need to put your right tracking on that as well and make sure you pull that out. So yeah, it just depends what the requirement is, what the goal is of what you're trying to do.
So how would you actually access these tools? Are they stuff you download, or can you get them on like WordPress? Are they plugins on WordPress, or?
There is plugins for WordPress. WordPress has plugins for Tag Manager and Google Analytics.
Okay.
Most CMSs have the plugins for each of these. Some can be slightly tricky, as in they'll only allow you to either add Tag Manager or they'll only allow you to add Analytics.
Right, okay.
My advice always is, and it seems to be the best, just going by experience before, if you put analytics on a site and you don't have Tag Manager, you're not guaranteed to get the most up-to-date analytics tracking code there. So if you do it through Tag Manager, they'll update automatically, whereas if you just put the analytics on, it's going to keep the, so for instance it's went from classic analytics to universal analytics to now it's GTag analytics. Yeah, so
scares me sometimes.
yeah, but if you need to do, like, so you're coming from a social platform to the website and maybe you're sending them to somewhere else to sign up, if all these tracking codes on here aren't consistent, it will cause anomalies in the data that you're seeing. So you really need to be able to make sure that it's all consistent. So by using Tag Manager, there are other tag management systems out there, but Google moves at such a fast rate that it's always updating things, it's always up to speed. So if you use Tag Manager, you're guaranteed pretty much that your code's all up to date and you don't need to look at it.
Okay.
But these, like I say, I would promote the free tools first before even going down the road of paying for tag management systems.
So tag management is actually, you have to pay for that?
Not Google Tag Manager, but all the other tag management systems you do have to pay for, and all the other analytics. Some CMSs come with their own analytics in the background.
Wait, what's a CMS?
Like WordPress, content management.
Oh,
system.
content management. Okay, so that's like Squarespace, Wix, WordPress, and all that.
Neil saying no.
I know
Yes,
WordPress is the best, but they are all.
That's more like a website builder.
All right, okay.
Content management systems like an intelligent way of building, of managing your content. So the beauty of WordPress is that it doesn't necessarily just have to be about pages. It can be about events. It can be about anything can be content. And
right.
It can capitalize on that. E-commerce, for example, a product. It's based on posts, right? So WordPress is built up on posts. So a post can be a product. A post can be an event. A post can be anything you want it to be. Whereas with Squarespace and that, it's just a web page builder.
It's like
very limiting. Yeah.
All right. Okay. I see. So pretty naff. Oh, one other thing I was going to say is how effective, like in your experience, do you think social media is at bringing people to your site? So if anyone's got a site, how effective is social media bringing them in comparison to Google, for instance, or anything else like maybe email? Is there a way to tell how effective social media is?
Yeah. So I guess from it, like I said earlier, it depends what you're wanting out of your social channels. But social media they are your ambassadors. They're the people that are going to speak about your business. They're people going to rave about it. Not always in a good way. They could obviously complain about it very vocally and out there. Yeah. And that could be turned into a positive, because you can use that to speak to your customers. You could tell them that you've taken on board what they've said, you're going to action it. So it's a way for you to communicate with the customers, to your audience, basically. And a way so if they come to the website, you could put on a survey tool asking them questions. It could be negative or positive. It's never in between. It's usually one or the other. And then out the back of that, you can make an improvement to your website. And then you could also go onto your social media channel and say, we listen to our customers, we've made this change. It's a way to get people to interact, share what you're talking about, shout about what you're talking about. Yeah. And out the back of that, you'll get a bigger following. You'll have more people that know about you. Brand awareness is very good, a good way to use social media as well as getting people to interact, especially with your content. And to do that, you need to make sure that you put the correct tracking on each. So if you put a post out there, you put tracking on it, you'll be able to monitor it and benchmark it against previous campaigns that you've done, previous social campaigns that you've done. And the other thing to think about is to split it out by organic social versus targeted social. So you'll have your social campaigns that you've specifically put money and time into, so to get people, stuff, like adverts, or even just your posts that you're this is targeted, we only want to, so you select in your social channel which audience group, and social platforms you're able to select audience groups, so based on age, industry, other interests, things like that. So that's where you're targeting people. But then you'll also have the organic social, who would maybe just look up your name, or someone else has shared your content, which is what you want. They've shared it, so they're going to have a look at it that way. So split out in your analytics the paid for and the non-paid for, and see what's different. And what the organic social people do, you could use that in your targeting. So you could say, oh, hey, these people are coming on their own and they're really looking at this content more than the targeted content. Maybe we could use that. And that's how you would use the two. But there is a definite difference between organic social and the paid. It's like organic search. People are coming with an intent. They already know what it is that they're looking for. The likelihood that they're going to convert is pretty
much
high.
higher.
Unless there's a blocker on the website, there's some sort of bottleneck that they're not able to get through. So it's exactly the same for social media. And times have changed now that people will look, as well as looking online for your business, they'll look at your social channel too, to see how you are with your customers. How do you engage? What sort of, before they'll even contemplate maybe coming to your contact you directly, or email you or something like that. So
especially if it's like a Twitter account, because if you look up a company, like even if you just type in the website name, if they have a Twitter account, that's usually what comes up, like higher sometimes as well, and you can see how active they are and what they're saying as well. So like an active Twitter account. You mean? If you're searching on Google, their Twitter actually comes up first. So if they're active on Twitter, then that's a good sign that they're more engaged with what they're doing as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I tend to find that.
And I mean, like, it's changed from, it used to just be social channel, now it's social and influencer is the term now for it, and that's for a good reason, because your social audience can influence whether someone's going to contact you or not. And it's something you should always bear in mind. So if someone tags you in something, or the company in something, ignoring that isn't necessarily the best way to go, because that will be seen as a negative. Deleting posts if you don't like the post, that is a negative.
Yeah,
because
you were saying that for that Tea in the Park guy. He was deleting the comments as well. Yeah,
and that didn't go down well, because people got annoyed that it deleted them and didn't respond to it. And then that kind of went everywhere. That ended up in the news. Deleting posts, like, all it takes
could be a PR though. Censoring's never a good idea in general.
It didn't work in that instance. Tina Park, obviously.
But I noticed a lot of social influencers do heavily moderate the channel. I was watching, and I'm not, like, this is not something I subscribe to, by the way, but I was watching Gabby's World. You know Gabby?
Okay. No, I don't know Gabby, but it just sounds...
She's actually had the #1 song in the world not so long ago with some song she made.
Maybe I heard it then.
And she heavily moderates her posts, and I know this because I was looking at one of her videos, and it was all about her going to a tarot card reader. And you can imagine what happens when you put a video like that on YouTube. And I got trounced. There were so many negative comments. And then I looked at it later on, and like the comments were going down, not up. And I was like,
Oh, so you're just deleting all the negative.
And then I started scrolling through, and it's all positive. Oh, it's fantastic! Yeah, you're great. You got to talk to your grandma. And it was just.
But that's,
I thought,
that's
well, hang on a sec,
isn't it? It's
fake. So that's like a bad idea to do that.
It's not fake. She doesn't want that negativity in her channel, and I think everyone's got the right to decide on whether they want to allow that or not.
Yeah. Do you think you should?
I don't know. I wouldn't, but you put yourself out there, don't you? I'm looking at Laura so much. Laura, you should be in this chat the amount of times I keep looking at you.
Why? Because I'm a troll. Sorry. Continue.
Me too. I troll Donald Trump. Everything. Well, maybe don't want that in there.
That's fine. But yeah, so I suppose there's no hard and fast rule for it.
Yeah.
But generally, censorship can have a backlash, which can negatively impact you.
Yeah.
Especially if people notice it.
I think in Gabby's case, she may have a certain audience that, you know, they accept her for who she is.
Yeah.
And so they're not necessarily going to, whereas I'm just a guest coming and watching a video and going, I automatically come to an opinion, not that I'm going to bash her for it, you know, but lots of people would and did.
I guess if you're going to delete comments, though, you should probably say, sorry guys, I've had to delete some comments, they're not helpful or they're offensive or something like that, and I don't want to address it. Don't just delete and not say anything. One of the great I love, and it's quite sad, but I actually follow on Facebook this social media person for, have you heard of Simba? So it's mattresses.
It's mattresses.
Yeah, no, I've no intention of buying a mattress. I just follow because the people that deal with their social media are fantastic.
Cool.
They are so funny. What made me actually watch was they made like quite a controversial, and I guess for social media you do have to kind of poke that bear a little bit to pique interest.
Yeah.
And,
a little bit. Yeah.
So what they done was a kind of a woman doing yoga on top of this mattress.
Right.
So this has obviously had lots of people going, what mattress? They're like, there is a mattress there, but the guys at Simba who do these social campaign, their feedback is brilliant. They'll say something like, so someone will be like, I never seen any mattress. Oh, did you not? Here's a link to it here then. You could buy it on here.
So is it actually in the video then? There's no mattress in the video?
No, there is a mattress. It's just guys saying, oh, we're only watching the women do yoga.
I'm a bit slow to the... No, so Stuart.
That was a little bit slow.
Got there eventually.
It's like I like to follow Wendy's. Have you followed Wendy's at all? Because they like rip like McDonald's to shreds all the time. Yeah, I've never ever been to Wendy's, but I still follow
the competition.
Yeah, it's funny. If you do it in like a tasteful way, it can make you like really big. I think Wendy's.
We were talking about this with Roya the other week.
Yeah, a little bit.
We're talking not to badmouth the competition. Right?
Well, it depends. I think as long as you do it in a tasteful way, if it's not just generally really abusive and hateful,
it needs
stuff.
to be abusive stuff.
Do you think?
Really, that makes people stand up. And
I think like the stuff Wendy say, it's like I can't remember. They like reference like a post maybe. McDonald's are like, oh, we no longer freeze all of our burgers. Right. We make this burger fresh. And then they're like, so you freeze like all your other burgers, and then they're like, and then everyone's like commenting on it, and then that's what makes them like big. It's all that sort of stuff.
Brilliant.
It's really good. I think it's really good.
Yeah, I think you have to be a little bit controversial or brave in some social media campaigns, just to get if it kind of get a lull and kind of reach or people interacting with it. If you put something a little bit controversial out there, then get all the people like chatting about it and shit. Oh my god, look at this.
You find most like CEOs are terrified of doing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh no, we can't be doing that. So
But you got Richard Branson, who's like the opposite. He does. You think?
He used to do like media doing anything controversial.
Well, I don't know. In the
funny
past, they used to do like loads of crazy
don't get me
stunts and
started
everything.
on Virgin Media. Jesus.
It's
Yeah,
like-
Virgin. Let's talk about Virgin. Yeah, yeah, he's done stunts, but I wouldn't call him a daring social influencer.
Because he has done some dodgy stuff in the past.
Has he?
When he like sued like the NHS and stuff.
Oh really? I don't know about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
really did that?
That was a couple of years ago. Because I can't remember
Can
what
we get Google out, please?
I can't remember what it was.
Because
Yeah, 'cause there was
some
that, like-
accusations last week about a pizza delivery guy.
And Boy George. No, because there was that thing that something happened and he ended up winning the court case,
Yeah.
and then he sued the NHS, which obviously people were like, sure, you've won the court case, but you didn't need to sue NHS, like it's struggling enough as it is.
Yeah,
I'm like 90% sure that happened.
yeah. I'm sure.
But it did, yeah, because that's why a lot of people started to hate on him for that.
Right.
But that's like a controversial thing that was like pretty much no benefit. There was no upside to it.
Mm.
But you just have to be careful in the way you do it.
That's-
It's there's like that saying. It's like if you're not offending anybody, then you're either too bored and you're not talking about stuff you're that's interesting, and people aren't going to follow you because of that. You need to be you need to be opinionated on stuff so people know what you stand for and what you don't stand for. Going back onto like social influencers, is there somebody that you follow that is an influencer that you think? Is there some people that you follow on social media at all?
Social influencer hero.
I actually don't have one. Well, other than Simba, the mattresses, because I just love the way that they interact with their customers.
So are you a Twitter user? Maybe.
I actually only use Twitter for a resource to like collect resource. I think Twitter is a great place to go to learn and share knowledge about a certain industry. For instance, I don't use it for any personal stuff. I save that for other channels. But Twitter, I think it's great for. I've learned a lot off of Twitter. I get tons of resource to go back, and I'll share that if it's really good. And Twitter is also really good. If you share something, they'll come back and say thank you, and then they'll mention your name and then share that and talk a bit about you. So I use Twitter for that basically.
I use it to complain.
Do you?
And
Lots of people
to hear
do
what
it.
noises are like. What's that noise? Or let's see what's happening in whatever. But yeah, I think it's amazing for like localized events, hashtags and things.
Yeah, it's really good for that.
But
actually.
yeah, I'm not a big fan of Twitter.
Yeah,
I want to spew more than 140. So.
I don't really use Twitter.
What about YouTube then?
I use YouTube as in just as the same again actually for resource.
Yeah.
I don't really and music.
Really, you don't consume any media, like video media much.
Not really, to be honest. It's not really anything that
Netflix?
that I do.
Well, that's a social platform.
Oh, Netflix.
Yeah?
Oh yes.
Okay. So
Definitely.
Netflix person here.
Definitely.
You said you read quite a lot of blogs. Would you say that because that is like a type
Yeah.
of social media, like blogging?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I've got tons of them. So
Do you follow specific bloggers?
yeah.
Yeah.
So Analytics Mania, I follow them. I like Simo Ahava. He's got a really good blog.
Right.
Then you've got I can't remember the guy's name, but Optimize Smart, and there's also Measure School as well. I follow him. I've got tons of kind of blogs that I follow and try and keep up to speed on, and I find the blogs are great, but they lack. If you're looking for instructions on how to do something, I wouldn't say the blogs.
These are for experts.
Yeah.
Keeping on the cutting edge.
Basically, yeah.
Right.
They miss a lot of things out, and sometimes I feel it's intentional, so that you have to contact them
Right. Okay.
All right.
to ask them for help. Yeah.
All right, okay.
Especially things like Analytics Mania and Online Metrics. So that's Paul Cox.
All right. Okay.
He does do a lot of very basic kind of blogs about the basics of analytics, which is really good. But along with going on to his blogs, you have numerous pop-ups for sign up for a newsletter, contact me to ask questions, things like that. And I'm sure he does very, very well out the back of that. So it's good to use for that sort of tool if that's what you're wanting it for.
Yeah.
But
That's a good idea. I like that. And he's a freelancer, is he?
Yeah. And then you've also got the person who I love, who is very passionate about analytics, and it's Avinash. I can never say his name. Avinash Kusick, and he has a blog that's called Occam's Razor.
Right.
And he goes, you could just read his blog and you can see how enthusiastic he is about it. He also works alongside Google as well.
Right.
So he writes tons and tons of stuff about measuring and looking at customers and things like that. So there's lots more. I read a lot of blogs rather than social media.
So what are you looking
Facebook.
for in a blog that like keeps you enticed? Is it their personality when they talk or when they write on their blog?
Yeah. Tone of voice is very important. You don't want to read something where someone is not condescending but like presumes that everybody should know what it is that they're talking about, because that I find that's quite unfair. So if you go to a blog, for instance, Simo Ahava's blog is very technical. And I guess if you're a newbie starting out in this sort of field, if you were to go to his blog, you would probably run out screaming, I can't do this, this is terrible. Whereas, so whether he's doing it willingly or like knowingly or not, I don't know, but his target audience to me would seem as people who are very technical and not scared to talk code.
Right, okay.
But Google Analytics and Tag Manager are supposed to be aimed at people who are just starting out and learning this sort of thing. Supposed to, yeah.
I think that's changed a lot in the last 5 years or so. It's become more and more corporate, more useful, more and more in depth as a tool.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was very much,
plug and play.
Yeah.
Yeah. And well, that's it. They do sell it as a plug and play, and it does plug and play. You plug it in and off you go. But if it's all set to default settings, the tracking, people maybe think that the tracking is done automatically. That's not done. You need to actually physically go in and set up your tracking.
Right.
It's not done. Like, all you're going to get is page views coming through, unless you configure it and split it into certain categories and the way that your business runs, you're not going to get the most out of it.
Right, okay.
So and that's why you should seek help and getting help or training, or even someone to set it up for you and talk you through what each part means. And then after that, then you could either decide whether you want to keep doing it yourself or decide realistically this is a job for someone else to be doing. But the blogs, the tone of voice is really important, I think, because if you're wanting to help small businesses or people just starting out, you need to keep that tone of voice at a level and things and kind of less technical, less scary.
Yeah.
And then you've got the other side, like say Simo's is very like even I read it thinking, wow.
You're very passionate about analytics.
I love analytics.
Why?
Because it's powerful. It's you are taking away assumptions, guessing what people are doing, guessing why are they not carrying out a conversion, why are like you're just assuming that everybody that comes to your website is able to manage it okay and complete a purchase or do whatever it is that they need to do. You've no actual proof they're not doing that. You might think your product just is rubbish, nobody's want to buy this, but it's not. It's the website itself that's maybe got a bit of an issue in it that you're needing to look at. Also, if you're doing paid campaigns like social activity,
right,
so you're going to spend money to send people to a website to do something, how do you know that that's actually the case? How do you know that that's working? So without having the data there to back it up, then you can't say for sure. You need to maybe like justify why you need a budget for something else. How do you back that up to get that budget?
Yeah.
How do you prove I actually made this much in terms of value to the business? So how else do you prove that if you've not got analytics data to come through? and another way is help developers. So if there's technical issues on the site that perhaps, well, developers are busy, they don't spend time on the site all the time, they don't know. So if you use that to look at the technical, like things like page speed, if someone's coming from social media, usually it's by mobile, they're coming to the website, they're having a different experience than someone coming via a desktop. So how do you put that out there to prove either to get more money to make changes on the website, to do UX reviews on the website? It's all about removing the assumptions and guesses and giving a definitive answer that you could be confident in, either going to your customers or going to your line manager or board or whatever, say we need to fix this and we need to fix it now. So that's why I'm so passionate about it. And I'm also passionate about it because people never do what you think they're going to do. Never.
That's true, you're right.
Never ever.
Totally.
And it's amazing, something that you think is quite a simple thing to work through, other people just can't do it. It's just, it could even be the word, it's just even something as daft as the title on the page or the paragraph before it asking them to do something. It's just the way they've termed, like the tone of voice on it, it just could be completely different, especially if you're maybe targeting people outside the UK. So the way they interpret what you're asking them to do is completely different to how your UK audience is doing. So even like filling out a form, there'll be bits in a form possibly that you need to put in your postcode. Why do I need to put in your postcode? I don't want to do that. I'm off. Whereas all you need to do is say, look, this is where in the form people are dropping out. Suggest adding a little tooltip. Answer their question before they get to it. We need your postcode so that we can make sure that you get yada yada. You know, so just remove the skepticism about, oh, I'm not giving you my data, especially with GDPR now, who people are more aware about the data that they're giving people online. So like, just answer them, say it before they even think it.
It's so key to marketing. It
It
really
is.
is. You're a rare breed though, I reckon. You're the first analytics person I've ever met. Like someone that's just totally focused on analytics. It's well, I don't know how rare you are. What would you say? So a lot of people in analytics?
Oh, well, a lot of my friends say I'm pretty unique, but I don't think it's for that reason. I'm a special sort of person, they say. It is a skill set that's it's hard to come by, but I'm really passionate about upskilling other people that maybe want to come in on this. I first started out as a web developer, and I never ever thought that this is where I would be in the end. But actually understanding, so I went from web development into SEO, into like UX stuff, optimization, and then for now I'm into analytics, and having that sort of knowledge across all these different departments, I could see how they all interlink. How having a collaborative sort of process around this makes it all so much better. Everybody's on the same page, but I'm really big for upskilling any developers that maybe want to go down this route. I work alongside a front end developer just now, and I'm trying to help him master the tag manager, event tracking, and because I'd say like 65% of what I do is very technical, but that's because where people are at just now, they don't have all of this implementation in place, so they've not got any data there to interpret yet until they get all of this kind of set up, and then you can do proper interpretation of the data. So I believe that sharing knowledge, understanding how important it is to make sure you're making the right decisions, upskilling developers, anybody else really that wants to get into it. I just love doing that. I think it's.
At what point in an influencer's journey do you think that analytics would become important?
So I would say if you are sending people to a certain page on a website.
So it could be their website, or it could be an affiliate link.
So it could be straight away, like from the get-go.
From the get-go. So do you mean like what would I do to...
No, I'm just wondering at what point social influencer would go, okay, I need to focus on my analytics. I know for me, analytics is a phase. So I will do development, so especially for a startup. I'd work on the business first, then I'd work on their marketing and development goals, and then I'd work on optimization, and that would be where the analytics comes in as a third phase. So with a social influencer, they're good, like setting up a YouTube channel, they're running a Twitch channel or whatever.
Yeah.
At what point do they decide,
okay,
all right, that's it, I need to optimize, or I actually just need to start tracking?
Yep. Well, my answer to that is I wouldn't do third phase. First phase.
First phase, right. Okay.
First phase. From the very start of your build, you need to scope in analytics into that build. You need to make sure it's a consideration in what, because it will change the time it's going to take for you to do your build. Might depends if it's an e-commerce with third-party payment carts and things like that. You need to make sure that that's all kind of scoped in. I think it's a responsibility to the client to make sure that you can support them and what they're going to need to get out of their website. It's okay having a great website, but they also need to be able to interpret their data from the site.
But
so
we're
from
talking
social
about
media,
a guy with with a YouTube channel going.
Yeah, for YouTube channel, YouTube has their own analytics, which is really cool actually. You get lots of information out of YouTube analytics. Also Facebook has fantastic analytics as well, really cool, really interesting. You could get lots of detail out of that, but that's only looking at that platform. If you're sending traffic out with your platform, that's where you need to think, right, how do I need to follow this journey, I need to see what these people are doing. So you put your custom tracking, which is free, on any links on your social media. They'll come to your website, or even if you are sending them to someone else's website, you want to be able to say, I sent so many people to you, sort of thing, so that they can speak about it. So have your custom tracking on there. When they get to the website, you want to understand, are they doing what you want them to do? Are they looking at other content? Are they sharing content? And the only way to do that is to have this analytics strategy or measurement framework in your head of what you want out of social media. So it should always be phase one. If you need to report or be able to prove how successful something is, it's got to be at the very first point of your social media strategy. How do we report on this? How do we measure this? So it shouldn't, and I think this is what's changing now. Analytics used to be an afterthought thing, a sort of extra, a thing on at the end of anything that's done. Whereas now it's becoming more, and I've seen it happen, especially over the last year and a half, where I used to find it hard to kind of put my service out there for people to use, but now people are actually coming to me and asking for this. Why is this not set up? Why do we not have it?
It's now a dark art.
Yeah,
that's why. It really is. Oh my goodness. Are you up to date on your Google Analytics qualification?
Well, no. I just started.
Me neither.
I just started because they've changed the Analytics Academy again. So they've they've taken away a couple of courses and they've put a couple more courses in. So I actually just started going back through these again, beginning of last month, but I've just not had the time, and I keep doing like little bits. Although, like I said, I'm kind of helping the front end developer get up to scratch, so I've got him working through it. But I really need to do these, so then you could do a GAIQ.
That's the one.
Yeah.
So for everyone watching, it's free training from Google. If you want to learn how to use Google Analytics, you get a free qualification which only lasts a year, but obviously it gets you up to speed with using the tool to some extent. Just shows you the basics.
Absolutely.
So you get more of an understanding.
Yeah.
But even so,
Good understanding.
I think even if you use these tools all the time, you should still do this training, because they change. They make so many updates that maybe aren't. You've maybe just not came across the updates yet or anything like that. They continually change things. So, and it's just to make sure that you are top of the game. So, like I've done them every year for like the last maybe 4 years, and apart from this year, which but I really need to get it done now.
Right.
So I would recommend doing it anyway, regardless whether you think you're an expert or not, which I never say I am. I don't think that there is such a thing, because it evolves so much all the time. Like, how can you possibly claim to know it all?
Yeah.
You can't, and I think if you put yourself in that sort of, give yourself that sort of title, well, it can make you a bit complacent, I think, or just
definitely
not want to. And like, I'm always learning things off of other people all the time about it, so I just think it's good to just keep on top of it and keep learning.
Yeah.
But
Always
but like a sponge, just soak everything up off of everybody. And learn.
Mm-hmm.
So, Julian, are we going to go over a little bit of the news today?
There's not much in the news today.
There's
you
not.
already had a look, but there's good news for the social influencers out there.
Right.
They're earning more money. Digiday or digiday.com.
Right.
They're raising concerns that marketing agencies are paying more because basically what's happening is, let's say you're a business and you pay a load of influencers to go out and do their job.
Right.
The brand that's hired the agency might say, I really want to check all the content before it goes out. So rather than, like we were talking before about negative stuff going out, they want to make sure that does not happen. So in order to do that, generally the agency, because they want the work, they just say, oh yeah, sure, but they don't reduce the cost.
Okay.
They don't increase the cost, because it takes a lot more. They've got an example here.
Right.
If a campaign requires 100 influencers and each influencer provides 3 options for posts and creates 6 Instagram stories as well, that comes to 1,200 pieces of content that the employees of the agency have to examine.
Right.
Right. So that means basically they're passing the emphasis of the work onto the influencers now.
Right. Okay. So they have to check it more.
Yeah, and the influencers get paid more. So it's generally good news for the influencing world and bad news for agencies that are sucking it dry. No, they're not. They're doing a lovely job. Everyone's working in synergy and making it a better place.
Right.
So
that's pretty good then.
Yeah. Right.
So what are they looking? They're making sure that the influencer checks that it fits certain regulations or something like that.
Yeah. So agencies now pay influencers more for their extra work, which inflates the price of an overall campaign. But it's industry standard now that an agency will not increase the price. They say they do this for free. They will check the content and make sure it's not bad. Gratis.
Right.
And it costs them money.
So they're not checking it as much now.
More brands want it checked. So not all brands care. They just want to go, all right, no, get it out there, whatever happens.
I think they're quite right. They should be checking that content before it goes out there. If they're asking a third party agency or whatever to do their they're not
on top of it.
Yeah, they're not on top. They're maybe not as passionate about the brand or want to share the love. They're just maybe doing a job that's just like putting out. So, and that, just like what I said earlier about having communication between the client and your social influencer, it's key. You have to have that communication, so that just kind of reinforces that.
Cool. Well, that's it in the news.
That's it in the news.
Yeah, there's probably more, but
I feel there should be a wee.
It's quite a long podcast.
A little jingle, yeah.
I think we've got a jingle, right?
Oh, do you?
Sort of. Well, I mean, it's not a definite jingle.
Is it not the jingle I played in the last one?
It's not that one.
Oh, right.
We could use that if you want.
We could. No, we could. No, that's awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, you should have a jingle.
Okay.
Cue jingle.
For news. Yeah.
That's just putting pressure on me to find a good jingle. We can make up our own jingle, I suppose.
Yes. Yeah. Callum's got a friend that can make a jingles.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Man, I wish I had a little camera that caught you there.
We have to pay him though.
All you need is a little xylophone.
Oh,
ding,
perfect.
ding, ding.
Yeah,
There you
let's
go.
do it. That sounds pretty cool. I like that.
Fine, sure, we'll do that. So, we're going to just wrap it up. That's the end of the podcast, folks. Just want to say thanks to our guests. Thanks, Julian, for being here, and thank you very much for Laura being here. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.
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 Cheery bye.
Cheery bye.